Some people are born with wings. Hannah Grace was born with nothing but Wait Bill's silence, and a boy who called her Mama with eyes too wise for his age. Every morning before the sun knew it was morning, Hannah was already awake. Not because she wanted to, but because life rent hunger and dreams she kept folded like laundry demanded it. The alarm rang at 4:30 a.m. Hannah Grace silenced it before it woke her son Noah, who lay curled beside her on a thin mattress on the floor. The room was cold, barely insulated, just enough to keep the frost out, and lit only by a flickering street lamp outside the cracked window. She sat up slowly, her bones heavy, her head still aching from the 3-hour sleep. She moved quietly through the dark, brushing her teeth at the kitchen sink, heating water, in a dented kettle, pulling on her cleaning uniform that still smelled faintly of bleach. She poured the water into a thermos, grabbed a banana and an old granola bar from the cupboard, and kissed Noah's forehead. "Back soon, baby," she whispered. By 5:00 OM, Hannah was scrubbing floors at a downtown office building. The silence of the early hours gave her time to think, not always a blessing. Her mind drifted to the what-ifs. What if she'd finished college? What if she hadn't fallen for a man who disappeared at the word pregnant? What if she had parents who answered her calls? But those what-ifs didn't feed Noah, so she scrubbed. By 8:30 she clocked out, changed into a delivery uniform in the bathroom, and picked up her bike. She delivered takeout until noon, scarfing down bites of her banana in between drop-offs. At 12:15 she biked to Noah's daycare, a sliding-scale nonprofit that barely survived, and sat with him for 20 minutes on her lunch break, helping him draw flowers and rocket ships with broken crayons. That moment, his smile, the way he said, "I missed you," Mama refueled her. By 2 p.m. she was home. She took a 2-hour nap while Noah napped, then got up and cooked rice and eggs. Dinner was quiet. Noah talked about a girl in his class who liked dinosaurs. Hannah smiled, but her mind was on rent, on groceries, on the hole in her sneaker sole. At 9:00 p.m. she opened her old laptop. The screen flickered. She logged into a freelance writing site, scanned unpaid jobs, and sent 3 pitches. Her fingers ached, but her spirit ached more. At 11:30 p.m. she finally slept. Her last thought, "Keep going, he's watching." She didn't know yet her story, her struggle, her voice would soon touch the world. The first message came at 6:12 a.m. the next morning. "Hi, I saw your writing sample on Freelance Bridge. It was raw, beautiful. Are you available for a ghostwriting job, small budget? But it matters." Hannah reread the message 3 times before replying. Yes, she was available, and yes, it mattered. By noon, she was interviewing a retired nurse who wanted to write her memoir. It was the first time in months Hannah had a conversation not about orders schedules or Noah's daycare fees, just stories, humanity, memory. After the call, Hannah opened a blank document and began typing. Words came like water bursting a dam. She wrote in 30-minute intervals between laundry peanut butter sandwiches and Lego disasters. At night, she wrote more and more. 2 weeks later, the retired nurse emailed, "You made me cry. Thank you for making my life feel worth writing about." Hannah cried too. Encouraged, she returned to her old blog abandoned. Since Noah was a toddler, she wrote a post titled "Tired But Trying." It was honest, unfiltered. About sleeplessness, single motherhood, love guilt, small victories. She hit publish at 2 a.m. expecting nothing. By morning, the post had 7 comments. By evening, it had 400. Some were strangers saying, "Me too." Some were mothers she'd never met, sharing their own 4 a.m. fears. One comment read, "You reminded me I'm not invisible." That night she looked at Noah asleep beside her. She whispered, "Maybe this is the beginning," and it was. The wave came fast. Within 3 days, Hannah's blog post had been shared on a major parenting forum. Within a week, a local magazine reached out, asking to republish it. By the end of the month, she had 4,000 followers, real people, reading every word. And then the fire. One cold Thursday morning, she opened her blog to find hundreds of comments. Many were still supportive mothers, cheering her on. But a new tone had arrived. "She's making this up for pity." Another mom exploiting her kid for clicks. "She probably doesn't even work that hard." Hannah froze. The shame crawled up her spine. Her heart raced. She closed the laptop and sat on the floor, breathing shallow. Was she being selfish? Was she harming Noah? That night she didn't write. She stared at the screen until it dimmed her fingers numb. But the next morning something changed. A handwritten letter arrived in her mailbox, addressed in shaky cursive. Inside was a photo of a gray-haired woman with 3 kids beside her. The note read, "I was a single mom in the 70s. Nobody cared then. But I see you. Keep going." Martha L. Hannah cried again. She reopened the blog, wrote a new post titled, "To the Ones Who Doubt Me and the Ones Who Don't." It wasn't angry. It was strong, clear, real. The response was louder than the noise before. Thousands shared it. Someone created a hashtag or Rise with Hannah. A small publisher emailed, "We love your voice. Have you ever thought about a book?" Hannah stared at the screen and smiled. The fire didn't break her. It refined her. Spring arrived like a secret, finally told, warm, unexpected, full of color. And with it, so did opportunity. The blog, now renamed 1,000 Mornings, became a daily ritual for thousands. Hannah shared small essays, some joyful, some aching, always honest. Stories about Noah, about doubt and determination, about peanut butter on cheap bread, and library Wi-Fi, and mother love that never asked for applause. Mothers sent in their own stories. A teacher from Ohio, a baker from Detroit, a woman in Nevada who escaped an abusive marriage with her 2 children and 2 trash bags. Hannah started a Sunday newsletter called Letters to the Morning. Within a month, it had 10,000 subscribers. Noah noticed the change, too. Their dinners were still modest beans, rice fruit when she could. But her smile stayed longer now. She was home more. She wasn't always rushing. One night, Noah crawled into her lap and whispered, "You're different, Mama. You laugh more." She held him tighter than she had in weeks. With the book deal now in motion, Hannah spent her late nights outlining chapters, choosing stories that felt like truth and grit. The publisher wanted it done in 6 months. Hannah promised 5. In a moment of impulse, she emailed the director of the daycare where Noah went. "What would you think about a writing workshop for moms?" The reply came quickly. "Yes, we've never had anything like that. Let's try it." The first session had 3 women. The second had 9. By the 4th, they had to borrow chairs from the preschool classroom. Stories spilled out, stories hidden for years. Laughter tears the silence between. Hannah listened as much as she led. Then one day, a local news crew showed up. "We'd like to feature this on a segment called Mothers Who Move Mountains." She almost said no. Then she thought of the Martha L's out there, the women, folding their pain quietly. She said yes. The segment aired on a Thursday. By Saturday, her inbox had hundreds of messages, some from across the world. One said, "Your story saved me." Another, "I read your blog every morning before I face the world." And then one simple line, "Because of you, I believe again." Hannah stared at the screen, hand over her heart. This was no longer about her survival. It was about planting courage in others. And in that blooming season, Hannah Grace finally saw it. She had become her own sunrise. The night before the book launch, Hannah stood in the kitchen icing cupcakes with Noah. He insisted on rainbow sprinkles. "Do you think people will come?" she asked him. He nodded with the certainty only a child could have. "They will. You wrote it with your heart. Hearts listen to hearts." The next day, the community center filled with people, moms with strollers, college students, gray-haired women who said they'd read every word. Hannah signed books until her hand cramped. She took photos, hugged strangers, heard stories she'd unknowingly inspired. One woman whispered, "I was going to give up. Your words stopped me." That night back home, Hannah sat on the edge of the bed watching Noah sleep. The city lights flickered through the window. Her heart felt full in a way it never had before. She opened her laptop and wrote the final blog post of the year. 1,000 mornings ago, I didn't think I'd survive. I was tired, invisible, unsure. But I kept waking up, and slowly the world began to wake with me. To every woman carrying more than she should, to every heart that still beats beneath the weight, keep going. You're not alone, and you were never small. The post went viral within hours. Months later, Hannah founded the Morning Light Foundation, a nonprofit providing childcare scholarships and creative workshops for single mothers. On the day Noah graduated kindergarten, he stood at the microphone in front of 100 parents and teachers. He fidgeted with his tie, cleared his throat, and said, "My mommy writes stories. She helps people feel less scared. She's my hero." The room applauded. And as tears filled her eyes, Hannah knew every early morning, every ache, every moment of doubt it had led here. To light. The kind she now gave to others. The kind that never burned out. If you've made it here, thank you. This story was born from the quiet strength of women everywhere. Mothers, sisters, daughters, who keep rising even when no one is watching. Maybe you're a Hannah, or maybe you love someone who is. Wherever you are, whatever weight you carry, you are not alone. Every morning you rise is a victory. Every breath a declaration that your story matters. So keep going, keep writing your mornings. And when you doubt, remember, even the smallest light can brighten the darkest dawn. With all my heart, the storyteller, the end.